Johnson & Johnson was founded by the Johnson brothers in 1886. The company started with just 14 employees, and 8 out of those 14 were women. That's a ratio of more than 50%. And that too at a time when most women around the world did not even have voting rights. A few years later, in the early 1900s, Johnson & Johnson hired its first female scientist. Edith was one of Johnson & Johnson's 4 scientists at the time. Again, this was at a time when less than 3% of American women went to college, and even less in the field of science. The point I'm making here is from 1886 until now, J&J has consistently put women in positions of responsibility, demonstrating its commitment to its values of diversity, inclusion, and equal opportunity. Let me now tell you a story about my journey in Johnson & Johnson. I joined Johnson & Johnson 22 years ago. Yeah, you heard right, 22 years ago. Now, it's not unusual uh, for me to be here for such a long time. Many of my colleagues around the world have been around for much longer than I have. I get asked very often, Priyanka, what is it that keeps you at Johnson & Johnson for so long? Yes, Johnson & Johnson has a very diverse business portfolio. It also operates across 60 different countries around the world. It has 144,000 employees. I learn something new every day, every single day, and I have multiple options, for my career advancement. But the main reason I am still here is because I feel I belong. Now, what do I mean by a sense of belonging? At Johnson & Johnson, I feel respected. I really feel that people around me that I work with genuinely care about me. I feel that my ideas and perspectives are valued. I feel empowered by my leadership to implement those ideas. I feel safe. I actually feel very happy. It's this happiness that has kept me in Johnson & Johnson for such a long time. In my 22 years in Johnson & Johnson, I have done 12 diverse roles, and this covers various geographies. My current role is also equally exciting. I have been tasked with setting up a new office in Bangalore and building a new team here. We started a few months ago, and we're growing at a very fast pace. I am so proud that 70% of our employees today are female employees. And no, this wasn't done to meet any targets. It was based on a very pure, fair interview process. Now, I also feel very blessed that I have the opportunity to create that inclusive culture, that sense of belonging that I have been privy to in the last 22 years for my colleagues in Johnson & Johnson. We're doing many things here to make this happen. And today, I'm going to talk about some of those things. Now, tone at the top is very important to put anything in place and to make anything happen. So we're ensuring that our people leaders demonstrate inclusive behaviors. How are we doing this? We're doing this through training. Training such as unconscious bias, how to interview, and many other such trainings. Connection with an employee is very important to us, and we believe it's very important for our growth. We have the usual ones, the one-to-ones, the skip level meetings, the town halls, but I have to talk about my personal favorite. It's an informal one. My personal favorite is the coffee machine chats. Yes, chats at the coffee machine. So whenever I go to the coffee machine to get my cup of coffee, could be multiple times a day, I make it a point to speak to somebody over there who I don't know enough about. The conversation could be about anything under the sun. It could be about their families. It could be about how their day has been, or the weekend, or even the traffic conditions around. I have found that I have made such deep connections for starting at the coffee machine in my last 22 years. It's super effective. You should try it. The other thing that has really worked for us is our monthly tea and cake session. Our tea and cake session is an informal gathering of people, of our employees. And of course, it's over cake. We share important updates. We celebrate birthdays. We celebrate achievements. But this is also the forum we welcome our new starters. So the new starters introduce themselves by coming up with the one word that explains or that describes them best. They also narrate a funny story about themselves. You know, we have so much laughter around the group then because everybody is so intently listening, and it's a very nice way of welcoming our new starters. Normally, new starters are very nervous, in the first few days, but this is a very great way of welcoming them and breaking the ice and making them feel welcome. Employee feedback is very important for us, and we do this in multiple ways. So we have the annual employee survey. This is to gauge the pulse of the organization. We have the 360 feedback for our employees. This is to help them get constructive feedback and find ways to improve. The thing that knits all of this together is a wide range of benefits. Let me talk about a couple of them today. J&J recognizes that employees have to balance responsibility towards both home and work. We have a flexible working policy in place to make this happen. We have a global policy for exercise expense reimbursement. As you know, Johnson & Johnson is a healthcare company, and health and wellness of our employees is critical for our growth. So to complete the picture, the thread that runs through this all is our commitment to equal opportunities, regardless of religion, caste, creed, age, gender, disabilities. And we underline our commitment to the LGBT plus community by extending our family-related benefits to same-gender partners. Now, let's make a promise together. Inclusion is not just on paper. It's not just the responsibility of our HR leaders or just our leaders. It's not just a training we do on the side and forget about it later. Inclusion is the responsibility of each of us as a part of the community. We all like to feel included. We all like to feel that we belong. So let's get together and make an effort to make others feel just the same way as you want to feel. Thank you so much.